ask you about API experience in this moment and activism. In the past 2 years of the pandemic, as you know, the API community has been facing growing attacks of xenophobia and hate. And as we said earlier, this is not new. The community has faced this sort of discrimination from the moment Asians set foot in this country since the late 1800s. But we've seen a lot of activism spur from this, and a lot of pride come out of it, as well as the pain. And I'm wondering what you see as different in this moment. Is there something that sets apart the COVID era activism in API experience from maybe previous experiences that have galvanized the community? And years from now, what do you think we will remember about API community experience and activism around this moment?
Well, I think that out of this crisis, Asian Americans have become galvanized in a way that I've never experienced in my 48 years of life. And it's been really incredible because I think, Michelle, you can attest to the fact that most of us have experienced a lot of microaggressions and even aggressions throughout our lives. And we have been made fun of, or we've been diminished, or we've been, people have been really condescending. And I think so many of us have, for a long time, kind of felt on the periphery. And in some ways, we felt like we have had to fight these fights alone. And what's been really beautiful and moving is this recognition among Asian Americans that we are our own category unto ourselves. I mean, I think, Michelle, are you Korean American?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So you and I have more in common with one another than I have probably with anyone from China, and that you probably have with anyone from Korea. You know, the Asian American diaspora itself is vast and diverse, but it is its own sort of demographic, right? Asian American food is its own kind of cuisine that is different from what you would consume in Asian countries. And while in the past, I think the community has been very disparate because it's so vast and diverse, I think that what has happened over the last couple of years in the perpetrators of attacks on Asians, not discriminating between who might be Filipino or Korean or Chinese, that has brought all of us together to stand up against it as one community. And it's been so powerful. I mean, it's been so hard in the beginning of this pandemic. I was being asked to do a lot of interviews, and my legs would shake under the table because it was so unnerving and uncomfortable and scary to talk about these attacks that were happening in our community. But I felt like, as one of the few Asian Americans with a little bit of a profile, that I felt compelled to speak out. I mean, if I don't use my platform to speak out against these horrific attacks and injustices, then what's the point of having a platform? And I hope that one day my kids and my kids' kids will talk about this moment in history and feel proud of the role that their mother and grandmother and great grandmother played in this, because we are living through this moment in history that our kids and our grandkids and their kids will read about one day, and they will ask where we stood, right? They will ask, did you stand up for other people? And I would like my relatives to be able to say that I did.